And look at the... Oh, what a goal! Shea Adams!
Sam closer towards the back post. Jukovic in there. Jukovic! Oh, what a header! This man is on red-hot form at St Andrews at the moment.
And it goes again towards the towering Zigic. Oh, confusion at Martins has surely scored the winning goal for Birmingham City.
Hello and welcome to the Blues Talk podcast, your official Birmingham City Football Club podcast. My name's Callum Denning, Dale Moon alongside me. Today, looking back on a monumental visit to Rotherham United. We went to New York and we came back with what we needed. And as well as that, we'll pay a little special mention to the under-23 squad and look ahead to the massive tie at the Medeski this Sunday afternoon.
The Blues Talk podcast with Dale Moon and Callum Denning.
All of that, and I didn't even mention that we were joined by Shaun Rush. Dale, how you doing?
Yeah, very good, thank you, Callum. How are you?
I'm alright. I'm looking forward to hearing what Rushy has to say. It's always a laugh.
Yeah. He's just one of the most colourful characters at the club. You know, one of these... I always think when you get sort of fitness and conditioning staff, there are one or two people there that are articulate, academic, you know, the sort of bookworms. Or, I'm not saying Rushy isn't, by the way, before he hammers us.
Which he will.
Yeah, they're the military style, let's go sort of man motivators. And I think he falls somewhere between the two. But yeah, fantastic guy. Has loads to offer. And you can just see, I mean, put his personality to one side for a second. The actual job he's done with the boys this year, given the size of the group, how well they've performed week after week, Saturday, Tuesdays. They've gone the distance in the championship. Is a testament to the work he's done all the way back in the summer when we done that Blues TV feature with him. He said, you know, the groundwork's put in at these sort of months and it'll pay dividends towards the latter stages. And yeah, he's true to his word and that's what's happened. Being
pitch side and just hearing him as well pre-match. I mean, fair play to the players. Those routines are rigorous, I think would be the term.
Yeah. He just knows how to get the best of people. There's just an enthusiasm about him. There's a real authority about him as well. I think he's really made a mark on the group this year. But a good character to have around the place as well. Always good for a good value for a joke and a laugh.
We said when we spoke to the gaffer in the very first episode of the podcast we were going to get Rushy on.
Yeah.
So as the final one of the season, really, the season finishes on Sunday.
Yeah.
Done well.
Absolutely, yeah. It's good to get him on, and like we'll hear, hopefully he goes into some detail about how he's managed to achieve what he has this season, and then looking ahead to next year, really, because you know it's not too far away. They'll probably have 6-7 weeks away from the club before they start checking in again, going through all their testing and
the bleep test.
Another summer of death.
Bring it on. Well, speaking of achievements, we'll have a look back then. Our previous. I was about to say previous 2 matches. We've had 3, but I think we'll speak about Wigan a little bit later. See how much we can go into there. Let's go back to St Andrews Trillium Trophy Stadium. Good Friday. Derby County.
Yeah.
90 seconds, I think it took for Juki to score.
Yeah, really good. I mean, he's, like I say, a player who had that fantastic start to the season all the way through to November. Scored at Villa Park and then didn't score again for a good few games. And now he seems to have found his form. But what a contribution he's made this year in general. Great to see him find the score sheet the last couple games really again. I think everyone in the club are pleased for Duke whenever he scores because he just offers the team so much. Just puts his body on the line, gets bumps and bruises and gets battered from week to week, to be honest. So yeah, I mean, what a perfect start. I think it was a corner towards the back post that he meets.
Yeah.
And turns it in, and you think we're up and running 2 minutes in. And Derby, of course, a team who still had it all to play for, and still do have it all to play for.
Still in the playoff places, yeah.
So they had, it wasn't a dead rubber from their part. So really good start. But yeah, it didn't last too long.
No, Derby breaking through, little lob over camp.
What was refreshing was Harley Dean's comments after the game. I think we spoke to him on Blues TV, and he said, I think his words were, I've tried to play a lazy offside. So he's tried to just step up. Just got his timings fractionally wrong, and Waghorn races through, and Camp's almost caught in no man's land. Thought about coming. It's a good fit. Sometimes you have to applaud a finish. I think he gets it up and down really well to lift it over Camp and then underneath the crossbar, and you're back on level terms. So game on.
But then, Blues not taking it lying down. Championship survival on the line. Another corner. Gary Gardner has the shot blocked, and the man of the moment, the goal-scoring hero of this season, is there to stab it home. Michael Morrison, the skipper.
It's a reoccurring theme, isn't it, Morrow? Gaz actually seems to get his head on the end of a lot of the corners. And
Yeah.
I hate the term first contact. It's something that me and Tats talk about, but he does seem to get first contact on these corners, especially when the deliveries are good. It just helps it into an area, doesn't it? And I think it rebounds back to Morrow. He just reacts quickly, instinctively prods it towards goal and wheels away. He was embarrassed by his celebration. Don't think he's won his practice too often, but
No.
7 goals for the season from a centre half, his career best.
Well, I was going to say, we speak about how well Dukey and Shea have done up front this season. Morrow, I remember when he scored at Millwall his first this season, he was doing post-match press. Said, "Oh, well done on the goal." He turned to me and said, "Yeah, it's a bit of a rare event." Apparently not this season.
Yeah, no, 5 away from home, 2 at St Andrews. But that's what you want. I mean, all the headlines have been taken from Dukey and Shea this year, quite rightly so for their goals and what they've achieved. But 7 goals from centre half from Morrow. It's not quite Aidan Flint's, 13 or 14 a couple of years
Bristol
ago
City,
from centre half. But maybe next year. I know Harley was jokingly had a word with the press after that game and was saying how he, there's so many times where he feels like the ball's coming his way and it just hasn't. And for whatever reason, it started off as a bit of competition between him and Morrow, but that soon fizzled out and it was a one-horse race in the end.
Hey, but he did get that goal at QPR, which I'm sure, being ex-Brentford, he'll have enjoyed. So.
Absolutely.
But yeah, after that, Richard Keogh, other end. This is all in the first half hour, mind.
Yeah.
Levels it up at 2-2.
Yeah. It's one where we get done on a little short corner. They have an overload. They're 3-on-2. I think it comes back to Ashley Cole. In the end, you could see it happening. We didn't quite get that third man out of the box quick enough. And they work it back to him. He just helps it towards the far post and he has the run. Just attacks it well. Again, the centre half who's good and decent in the air. And it flies past camp, really. There's not much he can do. It's a header from close range. And, Desmond, after 28 minutes, is a bit of it was like a lively game. Then you wonder where the game's going. Are we going to see a 5 or a 6-5?
This is it. I went out into the stands at half-time and said, they're all on the beach. Bit of a dull game. Can't see anything happening in the second half.
Yeah.
And weirdly...
Yeah.
It was a bit of a quiet one second half.
Yeah. I mean, it's like you say, it was either going to go one or two ways. You either go and have a 5 or a 6-5, or the game settles into a bit of a pattern again. And I thought we were good value for the draw. I mean, you take a point against a decent Derby team who were up there challenging for a playoff spot, so it just meant that we knew what we had to do there.
Yeah.
Going into the Monday against Rotherham, and it's where the magic happened.
New York.
Yes.
We'll start with the first off then. I mean, logically, because, it happened first.
Yeah.
Concede a goal.
Yeah. Just a little, pre-game, obviously teams do their homework. We knew what Rotherham were all about. We're having a chat pitch side and the long throw-in's a big asset. It's close to the halfway line than it is to the goal and it can still launch one into your box. And so that automatically means it's a fighting game. You're always trying to win that first header, second header to try and clear the danger, or clearance to try and get the ball away from your goal. So always going to be a physical challenge. Got a couple of big lads in there as well. So the likes of Harley and Morrow and Dukey coming back to help out for every throw-in as well. I mean, he's just doing doggies up and down the pitch for every throw-in they get. So real dogged, gritty first half. We never got into any rhythm. One or two little openings where we could have done better, but in general, their game plan just seemed to bog us down a little bit, and they got their goal. So then you think, okay, game on. What's the response going to be at the break?
So, go in, half-time, come out, and there's whispers going around the press box between us, looking like a slightly different shape.
Yeah.
Return of the diamond.
Yeah. I know it's something post-game Lukas Jukovic spoke about, said he's in favour of it. When you play against direct teams, you can change it up to a diamond. And just means that you're winning those second balls. They have someone at the point of the diamond to win that second ball if the header's not convincing from the Rotherham defenders. And likewise, down the other end, you have that little screening midfielder who can pick up the pieces and hoover up any loose balls. And from the 45th minute onwards, it was as dominant as a display as we've seen. I mean, Rotherham didn't have an answer. It looked like they were a rabbit in the headlights for the first 20 minutes of that second half because they could not get to grips with the change of shape of formation. And you have to give a huge credit to the gaffer and whoever made that call, whether it's from a bit of help from Pep and Beats or whoever it was, because to see that and then to make that decision at the break, usually they'll wait 10-15 minutes into the second half before changing things, but made the decision at half time and to grab the 3 goals as we did starting off with Jack McGowan was a fantastic finish into the top bin. That's what he's capable of,
Yeah,
really.
well deserved as well.
Yeah, a lovely little bit of footwork just to shift it again to the right. The defender plants his foot, thinks he's going to shoot. Another little touch to his right foot, and then really just wrap his foot around it, finds that top corner, and then you're off and running. Then the momentum swings. The away end, was fantastic. I think I spent most of the first half filming the away end. They're up, and you think that we're the team in the ascendancy. That
second goal, though, I mean, we just have to spend a little bit of time talking about Shea's run in the build-up to that. Knocks it past the defender. You notice he's just kind of being forced off the pitch almost. No barrier for him. Turn of pace, round the linesman, back on, beat the defender to it. Great ball, and there's Hotter.
It's weird because I feel a little bit sorry for Hotter. Whether it's because his name isn't conducive for a song, in terms of the syllables, but as soon as he scored that goal, the chant from the away end was "Shea will tear you apart again," and one that whether that's down to the fact that it's a tough name to incorporate into a song, or just how big a contribution it was from Shea, because, like you say, it was help down the line. Shea just gets there ahead of the defender, but a lot of the time he'll either nudge that out of play, or go out for a throw-in, or try and win something off a defender. But he's had just the intricate touch that's kept it in play. He's kept it not only from going out for a throw-in, but also a goal kick down the other end. Like you say, being forced around the outside of the linesman. And even then, there's two defenders. One's gone a little deep towards the goal. The other one's held back towards the penalty spot. He manages just to slice between the two and find Hutto, who's unmarked on the penalty spot. Has all the time in the world to take a touch and find the corner. I think he goes through the legs of a final defender, but I'm pleased for Hutto that he got his goal. Again, he says, I've been making, in broken English, making a lot of assists. There's going to be an impression there, but I thought not.
No, probably not.
Making a lot of assists this season without scoring as much as he'd have liked. So really pleased for him. And he was like the happiest person in the world. You were down pitch side after the game. Yeah. So pleased with himself to have got the goal. So that was good. And then another winger who's become quite an infectious character. And although the lads have really taken to care of him, he gets brought on with, 20 minutes, 15 minutes to play. And, he's a winger who just scuttles across the pitch with these bags of energy, both defensively and when Blues are in possession, and just wants to make an impact. So keen and eager. And, great to see him score his first goal. Magoma obviously just delayed the pass long enough, waited for the overlap, Marabti, and he slots it away and celebrates in front of that way, and it'll be an amazing feeling for him. And he's up and running ahead before the end of the season. So I'm interested to see, just on Kerim, how he will be after a full pre-season.
So level-headed as well, isn't he?
Yeah. Just he just seems like his character and personality is a good fit. From the minute he walked in, he was a bit of a darling with the media. I know they were, eating out of his hands after the first press conference because he was very personable. Just says it as it was, not in an abrupt way, but just in a very likeable, easygoing character. But you find a lot of the Scandinavian lads who come out, you talk to a lot of the press and they say, Seb Lars had a great way about him. And Kerim seems to be, one of those players that's an easy fit, will go straight into the group, and he's settled in really well. But obviously the fact that the season in Sweden is very different in terms of timings meant that, November, he hadn't been playing football between November and January. So he's not going to lack that sharpness. But with a full summer ahead, hopefully he can hit the ground running next year.
Also, just speaking about post-match, the man speaks better English than you or I do, and still apologise to everyone there for it.
It does make it, as proud Englishman as I am, it does make us feel a little bit guilty that these guys are speaking the second and third language as Kerim does, better than we do, and yet he, like you say, still felt the need to apologise or check if his English was okay. It's a testament to him again, really, but very intellectual lad and really likeable character.
Listen, speaking of intellectuals, we've got to speak to one of the geniuses behind this season now, I think. We'll talk about Wigan in just a moment. We'll look ahead to Reading, but a man who deserves a lot of credit for the way Blues have performed, as we touched on earlier, is Shaun Rush.
Yeah, absolutely. Can't downplay or understate what he's done with this group this year. And I'm not digging out previous strength and conditioning or fitness coaches or head of conditioning, but we haven't been as fit in the last couple of years as we are this year, and we were plagued with hamstrings in the early stages of last season. But this season, touch wood, with a game to go, yeah, there's been, you look at David Davis's injury, which is a freak accident. Michael Kifton-Bell's late on again is a contact injury that you can't really account for. But in terms of the muscular ones, the ones that you can manage, I mean, to keep this group as fit and firing as they have for just a 46-game mammoth campaign. Yeah, testament to him, and I know he'll want to mention his backroom staff as well when we bring him in, because Aman, Aaron, and Elliot, the data that goes in, the number crunching, making sure they're monitored up in training. It's become a bit of a scientific vocation, this, and they do some fantastic work. I mean, like I say, the proof's in the pudding to keep such a small group going for as long as they have, getting the results they have, and finish games as strong as they do. It's not a coincidence, and Shaun Rush has definitely had a huge part to play in the success that we've had this year.
Well, enough of us talking rubbish then. Let's hear from the man himself, Blues head of physical performance, Shaun Rush.
The Blues Talk Podcast.
Rushy, we are in your very small office space.
Very small.
At the training ground. Is this where they just popped you in? Was this a cupboard?
No, this was actually when we got here. All the rest of the staff ran to be in the big office. And what it is, I was structured, and I thought I don't want to be with them. I want to be by myself. So I come in this office here. I can shut my door and have peace without listening to all that rubbish in the other offices.
Right. That's a good approach.
Very good tactical choice.
Tactical, that's what it was.
I think it's homely in here more than anything. I don't think it's like.
I don't know where your home is, mate, but
have you ever read Harry Potter? The cupboard under the stairs.
No, it is ideal.
At the end of a long hard season, mate, how do you feel?
Tired, if I'm honest.
Yeah.
Probably the first time I've ever felt tired. I don't know, because of the situations that's gone on through the season, that it's all amalgamated to the end, and it feels like a long one for me, this one, but
yeah.
No why, but yeah.
Yeah, we done a piece with you at Blues TV in pre-season. I remember you saying this is your 16th season.
16th season, I believe, yeah, in all sports.
Yeah. And yet you'd found or refound that enthusiasm and energy for it with this group of players.
Yeah.
Have you found that all season?
Yeah,
you said that in the summer before we've just done 9 months of slogging.
Yeah. No, as the season's gone on, it's sort of drained me. You know what I mean? But no, on a serious note, I've just been talking to somebody at lunch actually about it, and I said what a group of players these have been, and I'll obviously stick my neck out and say for the 16 years these have been the best.
Yeah.
Especially in the things that we delivered, it's simple things like nutrition, supplementation, the work we do in the gymnasium, the work we do out in the paddocks, on the field, then it's all taken on board. They're a group who are self-policed, and they drive each other on, and I think it's one of those where if they don't follow the process and the protocols that we put in place, they get left behind, which hasn't happened. So yeah, been really good at that. Singing of praises for the boys.
Yeah. Has it been nice, because I know you'll play this down, but supporters have recognised, I see it on Twitter all the time, the work that you and your department have done. It must be vindicating to see that the fans have recognised a small group of players have gone all the way through.
To be fair, over the last 2-3 years I've always tried to get into this fans about what the department does, but here I've had obviously a little bit more opportunity to do so some of the lads have been behind it on the Twitter or whatever social media feed it is, and we've tried to put as much out there as possible, just to give the fans an insight into what we do. Do you know what I mean, and why we do it? So I think the fans buy into it, if I'm honest.
Yeah.
So yeah.
It's been good to see. Talk us through your team, mate, and who you're in charge of and what they do, because I don't think they have as big a presence in the sort of backroom stuff as they probably should have.
So there's me, obviously, title of head of physical
Did you
performance.
choose that?
Head of physical performance. I don't know. I think it's just one of those where people just make names up now, so I ain't really bothered. It don't bother me what title I am, but yeah, we all work together as one in this. So then there's a man, obviously, head of first team sports science, and then Elliot is first team conditioning coach. Then we have the 23s, Finton and Chris Armstrong.
Yeah,
we have similar roles to the two above them, so there is a structure. And then we've had 3 interns, which I must say, I'll put it on the podcast, that the 3 interns, especially Aaron, the first team one, have been unbelievable this year. I've worked with a lot of interns, but these 3 have been absolutely superb and a pleasure to work with. I think we're going to miss them next year, because obviously they go back to the respective unis, to carry on the studies.
Yeah, of course. We'll come on to the 23s actually, because I know we want to talk about their success that they've had and whether the work that Chris does is in tune with what you do with the first team boys. Because it's one thing that I think has emerged this year since the gaffer and yourselves walked in is that synergy between the 23 setup and the first team setup needs to be closer than it was. Everything from the way they play to training next to each other, so you can always keep an eye on what they're doing. So I'm going to ask you a little bit about that in a second. Did you always see yourself going into football and down the route that you have? Was that always an ambition?
Yeah, I think so. I was always into like conditioning and stuff like that. I was a physical education instructor who played football to not a bad standard. I went down the coaching, did my UEFA badges, did my A licence, and then I just thought this isn't for me, so I took a different track really, and then started working with the FA, doing all my rehab and that sort of stuff, and my fitness trainers award and stuff. And
what put you off coaching?
I don't know. I just got to a point like, you know what?
It's not
I didn't see any pathway in it.
Yeah.
But from this side of it, I've always thought there's been a good pathway, and I've enjoyed it. You know, I mean, massive changes since I've first started out. Massive, especially in technology and you know, data equipment that you can get your hands on, and information and knowledge that's out there with the sports science and different papers that are out there to read. And it's good.
Yeah. Now that you find yourself at the end of a long old season, when do you start to eye up the summer? Do you have a bit of time, go up, disappear, forget about it all? And
I've just been saying to Callum before we came on, I've got my 2 weeks booked, mate.
Nice.
I'm going and my head's already
He's on the beach.
Yeah, I'm on the beach.
Can't complain.
No. We've booked it up, and I'm going away for 2 weeks. And it's the 2 weeks, and probably we'll get 6 weeks off officially, the players, but I know I'm at the gaffer, and that won't be 6 weeks for me. There'll be phone calls, meetings, and that stuff going on. And I'll be coming in here. What I do in the off season, I put on a couple of little training camps, which is purely voluntary from the players. I'll be in. I'll put some sessions on if they want to come in, do a little top up, get a dab on sort of thing. Do you know what I mean? Prepare for the pre-season that's coming. So there's always that. But so I go away for 2 weeks. The missus tells me the phone's off and stuff like that for 2 weeks, and that's.
You're bad on the phone. You're always on your phone.
Just like it's like a not a little habit, isn't it?
Yeah, I know.
I think I got caught last night. I was watching a film last night, and I missed half the film because then I had to ask what had gone on. I've been on my phone half of it.
It's the same with me. Like it's an extension of your hand now, isn't it? You're sat there watching something, and you don't have a clue what's going on.
Yeah, I am bad.
It is terrible. I mean, I've just been up north to see the kids, and you don't get a conversation with them, and it's
kids are the worst.
Terrible.
Kids are the worst.
Do it on Twitter, dear. That's the way forward.
Yeah,
you come off the training ground here. You go straight into the change room. You watch the lads straight away, bang there into their phones. They sit there like nobody speaks to each other.
No. Do you think that's detrimental to the dressing room? We got such a good dressing room, so it clearly hasn't had too much of an impact. But back in the day, everything that used to happen was in the hub of a dressing room.
I think the lads has put certain rules in the building. So certain phones are allowed in certain areas, which have been good. One being the canteen area. I still a massive believer in the change room that we all should listen to the same sounds.
Same music.
Everybody's got headphones on. Some haven't. Some listen to music. And to be fair, when I say there's big changes in 16 years, the biggest changes is the music I have to listen to. Honestly, it is absolutely. If that motivates, I said to her, I think it was Ali Dean the other day, I said, listen mate, we're trying to get motivated here, not to make love. We're going out for a fight here, son.
Let's go. So what would you listen to if you're going to...
I don't know, I'm a bit of a Stuart Pearce punk here.
He loves that.
But I'm doing a bit of training at the moment, so I do like my AC/DC sort of...
Just any rock that gets you
anything
going.
That gets me wanting to have a fight, really.
Not Barry White.
No, not Barry White.
So you're a fighter, not a lover?
No, I'm a bit of both.
Depends who it's with.
Depends what the moment is. I'm not loving in the gym.
So if I can take you back, mate, to when you first walked through the doors. How do you, as head of performance, assess the current group that you got? I know it's going back a little bit now, just over a year, but do you remember what was your first priority when you come in with team?
Again, just to assess the group and get hands on with them, see where they're at, maybe a little bit of testing, talking to lads. But it's a major one, like getting them to know one-to-one sort of stuff. See where they're at. Let them tell me where they feel where they're at, and then what they think they've missed, and then speaking to the staff that had been here previously with previous regimes. And this isn't me slagging off previous regimes, by the way. It's just that I know the way that the gaffer works and how I work, and the way these boys have got to come into the scratch of what we need to do.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's just getting hands on and getting that feel for it. Not coming in and making massive whole changes and disrupting the place. You know what I mean? When we first came in, it was mid-season, so you ain't going to do that. You're just going to cause ruptions.
Yeah, of course. But then the summer comes around, and that gives you a chance then to stamp your.
Yeah, and I think that was the best thing with that 6 months or whatever it was leading to the end of last season. It allows me to build for that pre-season, if that makes sense. It wasn't me coming in and just having a fresh set of lads and then working on pre-season. I could build them up. Yeah, it was massive because we had to get the relegation sorted. Got that sorted, but in the same process, physiologically, we're still building up for that first pre-season, which was going to be their biggest hit that they've had for a few years, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. I've been on the last few pre-seasons, but this year in particular is one where beastedum's the term that usually gets bandied about, but there's always a thought process to what you do. I know it's not just running for the sake of running.
I think beasted one, that's the quote off the old army one, isn't it? When
yeah,
just
get
running with
beasted.
no bags, which my son goes in a couple of weeks.
Is he?
So, yeah, he's going into Yorkshire,
okay.
so see how he's getting beasted.
How much do you enjoy the summer, mate, when you get them for pre-season? They spend a lot of time out with you and doing a lot of the runs and.
Yeah, it's obviously that's the main core of your job, and you get that right. You know that's going to have fruition throughout the season to like January, February, even like you look at us now.
Yeah.
Wigan, I still thought we had decent legs, you know. So you know that how essential, and you speak to any player who misses a pre-season and then comes back in halfway through the season because of an injury or whatever, and he's missed that pre-season time. He's always playing catch up.
Yeah, of course.
I don't care what you say, what you put into him. If you miss that pre-season, you are always playing catch up. So it's good from my point, but also from the players' point. They realise how important them 6 week period is.
I remember you saying that to us. Actually, we've got it on footage of you saying at the top pitches back in like
I've got
July.
a face for radio, haven't I? That's when I had doing a video number. I'm on podcast, so you can't see me ball.
No, we'll do it. We'll get you on video again.
Pre-season.
But I remember you saying exactly that. Whatever they do in these next 6, 7, 8 weeks will lead to fruition in the winter months, all the way through Christmas.
And I think what the one for me, Dale, this year is the way we have gone forward in a physiological way. The lads individually, like massive progressions. If you look back, it's essential now that in the off season, they've got to have time off. You know, we've had a small squad, and I think somebody put a quote out: 8 of the starting 11 against Rotherham or against Wigan. Well, Rotherham, I think it was 8 of the starting 11 had played 40 games each or above,
right?
Which is a massive stat, isn't it? You know what I mean?
But
that's a progression. So now they've got to realise in this 6 weeks off, don't regress. Do you know what I mean? Really maintain. So then we go to the next step in the pre-season, and we go to the next step in the next season. How do you think those stats compare with other champ clubs? Decent, I think, mate. Yeah.
You'd think they're right up there. I'd like to see.
Mate, with stats though, you got to read into stats what they are. Do you know what I mean? So if it's like total distance stats, well, how do you set up? What's your formation? Do you get into shape early?
Yeah.
So you're never going to get high total distance. Sprint stats. It's all related about how you play and how the game is flowed. So to have a stats and people put all like leagues up and all like that, I think they're a little bit false, if I'm honest.
Yeah. I've seen one or two stuff that's outside the dressing room where you'll put up certain stats for players to look at. Is that just a conscious effort for them just to check how they're doing at the minute?
Yeah, I think so. And I think the way we do things in the gymnasium, we'll do some recordings of certain exercises, and we'll put a little sheet on there to show progression. I think when you're showing progression on what they're doing in the gym and why they're doing it in the gym, then you get that total buy-in and the lads get some feedback. So, like the GPS, we don't give them loads of data, because it'll just become a big mash.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So but now we just
digestible little snippets.
Yeah. So they get into it, and it's what they want, and then they can feed into it. But again, I'm just a massive one, and like trying to keep that progression, little pat on the shoulder, and little tickle under the chin, just keep them going. You know?
Yeah. Have you had to? You don't have to name names, but I'd imagine the group are pretty much self-policing anyway in terms of looking after themselves. Are they quite a good group in general? Would you have to have a word with one or two?
Nah. To be like 99%, like they're just there and like.
They strike me like that. You just deal with them.
If they do anything like they've turned up late, it's nothing through being vindictive or nasty. It's you know what I mean. It's just something might have happened, or a little bit of sloppiness. We just got a little tap on the shoulder. But like I said earlier, like this group have been phenomenal all season since I've been in the club.
Yeah, absolutely. How much have you enjoyed the season, mate?
Yeah,
I mean, all the crap that's been thrown at us.
Yeah, but like I said, I do like dealing in adversity. So it's been like one of them where tin hats on in the trenches, fixed buttons, over the top we go, hey ho. And how many times have we done it? Like it's been unbelievable, hasn't it? You know. Do
you think that's helped create that togetherness? Let's go.
Mate, I said to you, I don't know if I said when you video, but I was at Hull City when we got promoted, and like in 2007, 8, I think it was. But like that was the same. We'd had a relegation fight in the Championship. Next year came. Did we make massive changes? No, I don't think we did. But there was just that adversity, that togetherness.
Yeah.
The lads that were brought in were the right to fit into that group, and suddenly, boom, for you up to that next level. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you see that here.
Yeah.
I do anyway. I feel it. Do you know?
Yeah, yeah. You got that core that have gone through all that.
Gone through a bit of.
Yeah.
Say that on podcast.
Absolutely.
That'll be a bleep.
Fine, in the edit.
Yeah, you know what I mean. So it's like.
Give him a bit more work to do and throw some more.
Don't like work. Don't do that.
So yeah.
Yeah, I just looking from the outside and seeing that the core of the group. You'd imagine when you get
Close, aren't they? Do you see that?
Oh yeah, and if any players do walk through the door in the summer,
Yeah.
they'd have to, like you said, they'd have to be the right person. They'd have to change if there was a little bit of not bad eggs, but any players who walks in who's got a little bit on their shoulder, they'd have to adapt to the group, which is a really healthy position to be in when you can trust that changing room to manage it itself, and the lads will.
So in the way, like the best thing I've seen is like I've not really seen it in football before is the way they are away from the environment with each other. Go out for meals, like go weekends away or whatever. You know what I mean, a little bit of time away.
Seems a bit old school that.
Yeah.
There used to be a bit of that in the 90s, and
yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Like togetherness and stuff. Whereas it's probably going out of the game a little bit, but.
We've seen bits of that on Blues TV as well this season. As a group, like the team bonding activities that you guys have been running, like when you went shooting, for example, how that's kind of carried over. He's thinking of the reaction gifts now, but
Shooting was
how that's carried over to the players' lives as well.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think standards been set though, and they've bought into it, and then they've taken it onto another level themselves.
Yeah.
Like even though I think the wives and the kids and all like that get together and stuff like. That's great to see. Once you got that environment in a club.
Yeah.
Could do.
Yeah, class. How do you feel you've settled in the area? And
love it, mate. Love it, absolutely love it. Yeah. Don't have to go in the city. Too busy for me.
Yeah.
But like I'm based out Warwickshire sort of way, and I get all amongst it, and I love the area.
Yeah. No. How does it compare to? You worked in other sports, so rugby.
It's in rugby league, yeah.
How does it compare to that?
Yeah, obviously it's a team sport, so there's that comparison. But when you're working in rugby league, it's
some big lads there, by the way.
Yeah, big units, mate. Especially the Maoris, and they can sup and all.
Can they?
Yeah, proper suppers, them, mate. I once went out with a load of Maoris and Islanders, like, mate. I think I lasted 6 pints. They just done me over. There was like supping. I think they had 6 pints in an hour, like big boys, like. But they're great. I mean, they're massive family orientated. When you talk about families, massive, especially the Islanders, like. Yeah, they're living, they're all trying to get around in the same sort of village, town, the community, and they're tight as anything. But when from a physiological part, it's 50% physiological and it's 50% technical. That's how important the physiological. If you're not up to grade on physiological, you're just getting smashed.
Yeah, of course.
You know, every tackle's a car crash, so it's like 3 Gs and stuff like that. So it's a different level of mentality. And like, I think my what did I say? If you ask a rugby player to run through a wall, he runs through the wall and asks you afterwards. You ask a footballer, he asks you before.
Yeah, it's right, isn't it? Yeah, it's probably a good comparison.
Think about that though. So what was your route? You spoke about doing the coaching at the FA. How did you end up in rugby and then back in football?
I was working part-time for Hull City. I was doing some...
Gaffer told us you were a big KR fan.
Yeah, big
Hull KR. God, ever. Right, finish
He
this.
took the
Finish this. No chance, mate.
Massive
It's
chump.
black and white.
Massive chump.
Black and white, that's it, mate. Yeah. Chair's nearly gone there. Right. So yeah, I was working at Hull City part-time, doing some strength and conditioning with the 16s and stuff. Pete Taylor was the manager then, I think, and then Phil Parkinson came in. He brought his own fitness coach to work with the first team, and I think he got it all wrong and lost the players, so he sacked him, and then Phil Parkinson asked me to take it full time. So I did. Took the because I've been doing physical education for 16 years. So then took that, ended up in a relegation fight, thought what have I done? And then the next year we got promoted to the Prem, so
Class.
and then just moved from there.
Yeah,
It's really doing something right.
3 years I think I did part-time, then 7 years first team,
yeah,
and then moved to rugby league, Leeds United, Middlesbrough.
Yeah,
And
there
then
you
to the
are.
Blues.
And there you are. How do you find working with players in general? Do you find the majority of them are good wherever you've been?
Yeah, I was talking to the gaffer about this the other day. You know, when I first went into football, I had players like Michael Bridges, Danny Mills, You know what I mean? And the banter was unbelievable. Like, I used to go home and I just think, I'm done here.
Let's get ripped apart.
Yeah, I was like nearly in tears. Like, you go and set up, and then you come in, and your gear would just be all thrown everywhere. I remember Danny Mills and the biffer wagon came in, and he goes, "Oh, Rushy, come for your session, mate." I was like, "Yeah, cheers,
Brutal.
pal." Yeah,
Yeah,
it was just brutal. I remember
yeah.
Danny Cole's. Remember Danny Cole, big centre half?
Yeah.
So he was like, he'd been dropped, and I used to get the bomb squad, believe it or not. So on a Friday, I'd have like, I don't know, eight players who'd do a little 4v4, and I'd put all the balls down. It was like a little lake, and he'd come and just booting every ball into the lake, like, and I was like, "Danny, just leave me one, mate." You know what I mean? It was like one of them.
Yeah.
So yeah, so from that side, we used to get, like I say, you used to get better. But then as the years have gone by, I think I've battered them now.
Yeah, no, I think you did.
I think I've battered them. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? I've seen players home crying for it.
No, it's
Dukey and Ali Dean just can't handle it, you know what I mean?
No.
So Morrow just stays away from me because I can just
yeah, he
batter
knows
him
what's
off,
coming.
like.
Yeah, he knows what's
Yeah.
coming.
Southerners.
Yeah. No, that's probably a good place to be, mate. To be fair, but what did you do before football, before sport? Going into all that.
So I was a PE instructor in the prison service.
Was
so,
you?
Yeah.
So what would you have to do?
6 years.
Talk me through your day to day, that sort of thing. What would you be responsible for?
Just doing gym sessions.
Just drills with them?
Yeah, just when you talk about big boys, some big boys in
Oh,
there.
I bet you
mate.
do. I bet you do as well.
Some big dangerous boys in there as well. No, I loved it, mate.
Did
I
you?
absolutely loved it. Yeah, every day was superb. I was just like taking football sessions, delivering football
Yeah.
qualifications.
For them, I suppose those sessions they look forward to as well because they gets them out and doing something, and so you get quite a good response. I'd imagine.
It was
from
good, mate. It was
enjoyment.
great buying, like.
Do you ever have any hairy moments?
Yeah, loads, but I can't
Did you?
really discuss it. You know what I mean? Loads.
That'll save that for another podcast, but that'd be good.
No,
We'll have to talk about that.
I
off
bored a few
air.
people off of my 16-year story in that trade. Yeah.
No, I'll have to.
I
I'll
worked
have
with
to-
Charles Bronson for 6 months.
No, you didn't.
Yeah.
No, you didn't.
Yeah.
Did you?
Good, yeah.
Actually?
Yeah.
What?
I've got pictures and everything of it.
Have you?
Yeah, go on my Instagram, there's a picture on there of it.
When he was part of you have to put sessions on for Charles Bronson?
Yeah, just me and
Did
6
you
lads.
banter him or did you?
I don't think I said a word. Nah, he was good. To be fair, he was good with us. Like, we used to just, funniest thing ever, so it had been raining on the exercise yard and there was a little puddle in the middle, and I mean a little puddle. He only stripped off naked, ran in and did a big belly flop into it. Like,
Oh my god.
Big Charlie Bronson, and he starts pretending to swim in it. It's like,
I ain't telling him to
Kind
get
of
out,
sight
mate.
you
Whatever he
don't
wants to
forget,
do.
yeah.
Whatever he wants to do. What's the camaraderie like between you and the gaffer and everyone? Because obviously you've been Middlesbrough, Leeds,
Yeah.
with him as well. So it seems like you've struck up a good.
camaraderie or banter.
Yeah. Whatever.
Gaffer has no banter. He used to have banter, but football's drained his banter.
Oh, has it killed him?
Yeah, he's gone, mate. Yeah, you can tell that, can't you? Surely.
I'll let you say that. Listen,
Don't mate.
you're in a position to say that.
No, good, real good. I've got a real good.
Banter.
He's killed it. Hey.
Absolutely. That's when he started off with banter. That was a gaffer just watching. Yeah, real good relationship between all of us, and especially the ones that have travelled. But always building up Leeds, Middlesbrough, come here. And, you know, we have a little round now and again, discussion, whatever. But our views always heard, and I think it's always respected, if that's the word I'm looking for. You know, it's like, and there's a thought process between everything that we do, so it's good. When Gary asked me to leave Leeds, it was a big one for me because I did like it at Leeds United, but when he asked me to leave, I only left because of the way that our working environment was, and like, really progression for me was unbelievable. So
Yeah, of course. How different was Middlesbrough without going into too much depth? Because he wasn't there for too long, but different experience to what you'd had at
didn't
Leeds.
enjoy it, mate, if I'm honest.
No.
Didn't know what I mean? Like the first time when I sort of got the move, I was like, buzzing. Then when I actually got into it and started working there, I thought, something underlining in the club. That
Just
I
not a
didn't
good
have
fit.
Not a good fit.
That's the sense I get when you
mate.
talk to any of the backroom stuff. It's just there's sometimes it's just not a good fit.
Yeah, exactly.
people
Like,
that
and there was a few things that I didn't like, and like, but then when you come here and you walk in the room and you feel it's a good fit, you know what I mean? You just feel like, whoa, this is a place where I want to be at. So
Absolutely.
absolute great feel amongst it.
How much do you look forward to next year, mate? I know you said you got your holidays booked and everything, but to start again, to get all the lads back in, what would it be, end of June?
I think from my point of view and my department's point of view is progression all the time. We can't just sit there on our laurels on what we've done this season. It's progression. How do we make it better? How do we make it individually better? How do we make it team specific better? How do we make the build better? Do we make it? What can we do around the building to make more accessible to the boys? Which is hard because it's as you've seen around the place, it's tight.
Yeah.
A lot of bodies in small areas. So
Yeah.
you look around at other clubs and see what they've got. It's like
Big buildings.
yeah, but we work it.
Yeah, you make
And that's
it.
the thing. Like I think that also helps because it is a little bit strained. That helps with communication
You're on top
between
of
each
each other,
department. Yeah, exactly. Because if there's no communication, then we performing now.
No, the gaffer clearly can hear what what you're doing in here anyway.
Paper thin walls.
Yeah.
Lads will be in, like you say, you put the little sessions on if they want to come in on those specific days for the summer.
Yeah,
but
a little
then
camp.
end of June,
I tried to get the gaffer to pay for me to go up to Tenerife and put some camps on there. But
I'll put myself down for that one. We could
it
do
ain't
that.
happening, mate.
Blues
See, I-
TV
Has he
feature.
sacked it off already?
Yeah, gaffer said I can go to Reigate. I think it was.
I think we're busy.
It's okay,
we're busy
no,
that
it's
week.
okay,
We're
but
busy.
yeah.
We're busy that week. Last week of June, then you'll get them back in. I'd imagine towards the end of June, start of July,
Yeah, I don't want to give too many dates away, but
That's
yeah,
fine.
around
And
that,
then-
pre-season.
and then you're in.
We're doing a couple of the bit of testing out at Coventry Uni this year.
Yeah.
So that's going to be another upgrade in our testing for the whole of the year.
Great.
So obviously you'll get down there with the cameras for
Yeah.
that one. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that. To be fair.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Is the testing just obviously to keep a benchmark throughout the season? Do you do testing all the way through? Or is it just the pre-season?
We try and do benching in certain, especially like international breaks where we can get a hit in.
Yeah.
And it's just to see where we're at. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? It's not like be all and end all, but it's a great guide. And I think sometimes if it's a positive feedback, it's a great guide for the lads.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? If they see progression in what they're doing, because again, what I said earlier is what they're doing in the gym, what they're doing on the green stuff.
Yeah.
And they see that, and then it's a more of a buy-in, and they.
Yeah. I've just got a few on the injured boys. So obviously Digger suffered a bad injury. Keith now.
Yeah.
Vass as well. What's it like for them when there isn't a pre-season and then they're trying to come back? They do a lot of rehab work in the gym with the medical staff and stuff.
Yeah.
But then when do they get handed over to you or your staff to go? Let's try and get some conditioning into it.
I mean,
or is it only when they join the main group?
I mean, I'm going to say it but this physio department's again one of the best I've worked with.
Yeah. Nominated for an award this year.
Nominated with the performance staff as well. So I'll throw that one in as well. Don't forget me. So so I don't know. We start. It's not like they hand over to me. It's more of a we entwine. We invite. Do you know what I mean? So I'll start taking sessions, taking a little bit of the load off the physio department, and then moving it into sort of my physical area with obviously the rest of the lads in the department, and then it becomes more of a physiological specific, football specific within the last couple of weeks. But we're always in there. We have meetings, couple of meetings every week, discussing the way we're going to take the players forward, and that's what do the physio department need from us, what do we need from them, and it's one of those. So it's really hand in hand, really.
Yeah. No, it's good. I think a lot of people will be amazed at David Davis's Digger's recovery to be playing, kicking the ball again this season.
Unbelievable.
How much of that is down to him?
Yeah,
between
without a doubt. I mean, don't get me wrong, the physio department have absolutely done a great job on him, unbelievably professional. But for Digger himself, his desire, you know the geezer, everybody knows the geezer, the fans know him, do you know what I mean? It's like, you see him and he is what he is on the tin, like, people mentally can break in them situations, and I've seen it, and players go under. But at no point through that ever through that his rehabilitation do I ever remember him being under. No. Maybe the first week or so, do you know what I mean? But after that,
as soon as you come to terms with the fact that he's in it, then it's like, right, we're going.
He was always on top of his same banter, and I don't know what I mean. It's just.
You're going to burst through the door. I think we're on 5 now. That's it. So.
A few deletes.
And in my mind, Keith Touchwood could be a similar mindset. You'd like to hope that he's got the same sort of. I mean, you see how he plays, but how he is around the place. Yeah. Once you get over that initial shock of it's a challenging one, a few months off, then it's all let's go. Yeah. And I think I'd like to think
the best one I've seen here is like we said about that camaraderie, is when the lads are injured, with injuries like that, the serious ones, is the rest of the lads get around them. Yeah. You know what I mean? They don't just let them be and like live the life in the physio room. They get amongst it, and it's like.
Because I think that's part of the big negative when you get injured is the seclusion. It's been away from it all. You see the boys.
Can you imagine though living like if you had like 8 months with Pete Shaw and Dave Hunt? Honestly, like,
you're really taking this opportunity to batter somebody.
I'll get my agent said that I just retire. Medically retire. I'm not going through 8 months with them two.
Yeah. No, you're right. But they'll see the players go out, and even when we win a game where you go through a good spell, they won't feel the same energy because they weren't part of it. They weren't feeling as buzzing. Whereas
the gaffer tries to keep them much, like bring them to game times and stuff like that, and like keep them. And when Digger was getting nearer the time, he was getting involved with away travel and stuff like that. So just getting him back in that environment. Yeah. But yeah, tough. It was heartbreaking to see. But the thing that will stay with me for a long time.
Not great.
And then Vass was the other one where Vass is even harder one really because he broke down again once he was so close, and that's the mental one.
So you wouldn't have been. It was this December, wasn't it? So you wouldn't have been. Was it December Vass's against Villa when he first did it?
October.
I wasn't here.
So well before, but so then you'd have been here towards the end of that season where he started to get a bit closer and
and then when did he come back and he broke down? I can't remember off the top.
That's it. He had a little.
He came back into first team training.
And then a setback.
He had a shot and it was like, well, he'd even admit his technique on it was disgusting.
Right.
He did something like he wouldn't normally do to strike a ball.
Right.
At that moment, he'd gone again. And he just fell for the kid again. You know, it's just tough.
Some physical specimen though, isn't he, Vass?
Yeah.
You look
rapid as well, isn't he?
Yeah, quicker than me. But there's some quick lads at
rugby. That's not hard though, is it?
Well, you ain't seen me run.
That's what I've heard.
Would have been some quick lads at rugby league that you'd have done? Or that big, massive brutes who are more
powerhouses, like they're just. There's a difference between rugby union and yaya rugby. I call it yaya.
Okay.
That's yaya rugby. Is they just like ruck and maul, go to floor.
Okay.
But rugby league, mate, they run over the top of you.
Right.
Bump.
They're still going.
Yeah, mate, they're just going to run through you or over the top of you. And they're proper geezers, proper men, like.
Yeah, no, I can imagine. Did their training differ? What you'd have to do with them? You know, because of the power and the size.
Yeah, like I said earlier, it's like 50% technical, 50% physical.
So they're
in the gym and they're lifting. Do you know what I mean? They're lifting big. But again, there's a bit of an old school mentality though. So especially the West Yorkshire lads did. After a game, it'd be 6 pints high. Do you know what I mean? Because Dad used to work down mine.
Okay.
And when he came home,
that's what it is.
Every night there was 6 pints, and his newspaper used to be on the chair, never read. He couldn't touch it till Dad had read it.
Right.
So it's that mentality. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So they came from that.
Yeah.
Especially like I said, the Wesleys, they used to be called the West Yorkshire lads.
Right.
They have mentality. So after training, I've caught a few having a couple of pints after training and stuff like that.
Would the club have a problem with it, or is it just accepted that's what rugby?
It would be advised
was?
not to do it.
Yeah.
And it was be through an educational this isn't the best way forward.
Yeah.
But this is like 10 years ago.
Yeah, of course.
That was the norm.
Yeah, of course.
So you're trying to get to that level now when you look at the Aussies and the NRL and how elite they are, powerhouses, and to get to that level.
Yeah.
Well, having 2 pints at the end of training isn't the best to be done to be recovering. So.
Mm-hmm. Who were some of the standout performers then in rugby league? Anyone who I saw you tweeted a couple of days ago,
Yeah, what a bloke, mate! It's just a proper. When you look at Jukies, the rugby league equivalents of Jukie, Man Mountain, absolute nicest bloke you'll ever meet. Absolute unbelievable rig on him, physique. But you get him on the pitch, torrid.
Yeah.
When you think of Jukie,
It's
he's I mean, he's
cracking man the face.
Southampton boy, very nice, very soft, a little bit educated.
But part of book club.
Book club, articulate, no banter. And then suddenly you get him on the pitch, and he'll fight. He'll go to war for you, won't he? You know what I mean? You take him to the trenches, wouldn't you?
Yeah. My final question, mate, is: are you more rugby than football?
No, football all the time. Football was my first love.
Was it?
Played the game, although I did play a little bit of rugby league. But football's always my first love, and it's my trade and what I know the best. I went in rugby league for 2 years, but I called it a learning curve.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It was a learning curve for me to find different aspects of the physiological process, so to speak. But yeah, definitely.
That's one from me. You're big on social. We're gonna get a plug. Blues Talk. Listen to
Yeah.
all the other.
Twitter.
You haven't listened to any of our You haven't listened to any of our.
So like I
podcasts
said to you
so
before,
far.
you want me to come in here, listen to the gaffer for 24/7, then go home and listen to the gaffer? Isn't happening.
Right, the gaffer's only
I'd
one.
rather listen to the missus and the gaffer.
He's only one of 5 podcasts we've done, and you haven't backed
Go on,
any
then
of
name who you got.
Trevor Francis,
All right,
Legend.
legend. I'm not going to
Legend
diss
of
him.
Birmingham.
Give me another one.
Kevin Phillips, and
Again,
Paul
legend.
Robinson.
Paul Robinson, snore off.
Pep.
Snore off.
Is that what we're up to?
Oh, him. I bet he's fun, won't he? Lee Camp.
Campy.
No chance.
What are your
mate.
thoughts, Rushy, on WWE?
It's not a thing I even think is a
Yes!
sport. I don't
Correct
even recognise
answer.
it
Thank
as
you.
a sport.
It's not a sport. It's not a sport. But Campy and him are sitting
I
there for
actually went
20
there once.
minutes.
I actually had to take my son to Sheffield to watch it.
Yeah, the Sheffield
4
Arena.
hours of
Incredible,
pain.
isn't it?
No, it's not.
Bad parenting. on
You
your
like
part.
it, don't you?
I do, yeah. I'm a
Ah,
fan.
you, Callum, you've
Stinks.
gone, mate.
We can't do
honestly.
another 20 minutes on it.
20 minutes of him and
Oh,
Campy.
you're 55, son. You can't carry on watching the WWE.
Look good for it though, don't I?
And I think on this awful WWE note, it's a good time to wrap up.
Yeah.
So, Rushy, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you ever so much.
Thank
mate.
you, Rushy.
Cheers, mate. It's been a
Cheers,
pleasure.
mate.
Thanks, boys.
The Blues Talk Podcast with Dale Moon and Callum Denning.
What a man Shaun Rush is. I think we suspected it from the minute he walked through the doors, and then you get to know him, and he's everything you imagined.
Just a proper character.
Yeah, proper man's man, isn't he?
Yeah.
Oh, little old school in there, but yeah, I think he's, like we said in the lead up to that chat with him, played such a vital role. You only have to listen to the manager when he talks about the difference that his backroom staff have made this year, along with Flavs, Beats, Pep, Ryan Needs.
Mm-hmm.
He very much shares the credit out, and Rushy's deserving of all the accolades that he's getting.
Just sorry, thinking back to when we first worked to the manager, he said about putting subtitles on the video for Rushy.
Yeah. He stinks of being, what is it? Is it a proud Hull
I don't know the
native?
what's the way of describing.
No, I
it.
don't. Maybe
Hull-
maybe listeners can tell us.
Hullovian?
If you is that what it is?
I'm making this
Sorry,
up.
anyone who's listening can probably tell us because we're ignorant.
If you're from Hull,
Brummies,
at
yeah.
Dale Moon 19, at Denning52, let us know. Don't know how to refer to you. Anyway, one
Yeah.
thing I do know how to refer to is our home match against Wigan.
Mm.
A little bit of a non-event, but even still, the man Dukey does it again. Minute and a half.
Yeah.
Repeat of the derby fixture puts us 1-0 ahead.
Yeah, it's a defensive error, isn't it? He goes down the outside and prods it home, and again, you think, it's repeating itself. But yeah, good again. Like I say, 14 for the season now, career high for Dukey, 10 assists. What a season he's had. A lot of supporter comments point to the fact that he would be their vote for supporters player of the season. Awards evening, of course, coming up this Monday.
bcfc.com. Limited tickets still available.
Well done, great plug. I'll be happy. So yeah, that he'll be their choice for supporters player of the season. You can see why. Crucial to how we play, and great that he's added the goals he had as well. I think he's never got past that. I think 12 was his high, his career high. So for him to reach 14 with these last couple of goals is great for him. But it's even then, like, we speak to him after the game, and he's still so very downbeat and modest about it. He says, yeah, it's great. I'd like to score more. I'm all about the team. There's he never gets carried away.
Worth pointing out that with those goals, he's got 13 assists as well. So he's been involved in 25 goals.
Yeah, well, that's it. His all-round game's just crucial to how Blues have played this year. Great to see him don the captain's armband as well. As worthy a captain as you can find. In the absence of Michael Morrison. Worth pointing out there was a few changes, of course. Harley went under the knife with a groin problem.
What a trooper, by the way.
Yeah,
the amount of time he played on.
Yeah, 2 or 3 months.
Yeah,
we've read.
It's ridiculous.
Ever since they changed him across, didn't they? They swapped sides.
Yeah.
Harley from left side back to right, because whenever he was swinging his leg at that ball with his left foot, it was just irritating him. For him just to have the will, determination, go through the pain barrier, the want. You give a footballer any excuse and they'll take it. But for him, it was all about playing and fair. Credit to him, absolute soldier. But yeah, no Morrow, no Harley, no Mags. It's just, like I say, great to see Dukey get his goal. And I think we were going down the captain's route when we were Morrison missing.
Yeah.
He spoke about how proud it was for him and his family after the game, for him to wear that captain's armband. And fitting that he got his goal and gets a career high and rounds off with a game to go. A fantastic season.
Well, I think other than that, it passed by. It happened.
Yeah, the wind obviously wrecked a lot of.
Yeah.
As a spectacle, it's never great when you get a blustery wind. You have all the
storm
conditions.
was it we had? What was the name?
I don't
Storm
pay much
something.
attention, don't I? Yeah, it just seems to wreck the contest as a game. There was a lot of miscued passes, slicing things out of play because they just couldn't judge where the ball was going to sit. So that don't make it a great game to watch. Both teams were safe. Wigan's, with all due respect to Wigan, it's not a glamour tie. They don't bring thousands of fans. So it was one that's, it was a nice way, I think, afterwards to thank all the supporters and the supporters to thank the players. That was probably the big plus point from
I was
the day.
about to say, that's my highlight of Saturday. I mean, seeing the connection between fans, players, staff. It's incredible, isn't it, this year? I mean, we've said it so often on this podcast in the 2 months we've been going, but the unity this year is unparalleled.
Yeah, they bring all their families on. It's a nice moment for them. They get all their pictures taken, and get their applause, and have a little walk around the pitch. Fans are obviously loving Gary Monk and Shea, and just a really nice moment for them all after what's been a fantastic season of progression. Despite everything that's been thrown at the club. Yeah, of course, we'd like to have made playoffs and not have the 9-point deduction, and you run away with the league. But given everywhere, where we've come from in the last 5 years, the connection off the pitch is closer than ever. You've got a manager who genuinely cares for the club, a backroom staff who support him, a group of players that put their bodies on the line, run through brick walls for the shirt. It's a good play. We're in a good place to be now, heading into the summer. So it was a fitting way to round off the home campaign, just for those supporters who did stay, and give the lads a big round of applause and a few songs as well. So yeah, nice way to finish after the Wigan game, despite a boring game itself.
We end our season in Royal Berkshire on Sunday, in Reading, at the Medeski Stadium. Looking forward to it?
Thrilled.
Honestly, right.
Thrilled.
So, living down south, Reading's been a fairly local away day for me for many years. Don't think I've ever seen us concede there, so we've got that going for us ahead of the weekend.
Yeah, I'm trying to think if I've seen us concede there.
I think we've got four. There goes my microphone.
Okay.
That's how excited I am, Dale, for Sunday. We've gone 4 games without conceding there.
Throwing things
I'm
at me.
sending microphones everywhere. I'm that excited. Great win last season as well. Let's not forget.
Yeah. I remember Sam Gallagher scoring. Jeremy Boga going on an unbelievable run. Setting up Sam Gallagher to score. It's actually one of the Steve Cottrell wins coming the Christmas period, where it looked like we were going to kick on and it just never materialised. But it's one of them. Great memories from the promotion winning season. I've been a supporter in that away end with the old man, watching the game, and Fahy scoring right in front of us, and then Phillips down the other end. We had to win that day, didn't we? To go up, and that was great. I still, in the full-time whistle goes, and McLeish and a few of the back. JP actually, I think it was his first game.
And he's out on the pitch.
JP the kit man. I think JP the kit man. I think that.
Get that picture for Twitter.
He'll correct me if I'm wrong. I remember talking to him this week. I think that was his first game, Reading away, on that promotion.
We've got to get pictures and videos.
Oh yeah, there's videos. Yeah, he jumps up and down.
And then with David Gold and Karen Brady.
Yeah. So JP's down there pitch side with them all. As soon as the final whistle goes, he's jumping more than you'd think he'd been there for years. I think it's his testimonial year. So yeah, good memories of the Medeski, but again, Reading will want to finish their home campaign on a high, so it'd be nice to finish with a win. The gaffer, you'd imagine, will make changes if he wants to make changes, but I think it's nice to be in a position where the nerves aren't jangling. We're not sitting here talking about having to get this amount of points or results elsewhere.
Trying to think how many times in my lifetime I've actually been able to say that.
Yeah, I know it's a weird. It was at Wigan. It was a weird feeling. A part of me enjoys the drama.
Yeah.
A sadistic part of me enjoys it, but then no, you don't want to keep flirting with it, because as Kevin Broadhurst said on Blues TV at the weekend, you eventually fall through the trap.
Yeah, absolutely.
You can't keep evading it by final day drama, or a goal here, or a last gasp Paul Caddy's header, or eventually we're going to go, and it's not where we should be as a football club. So the serious part of me is thankful that we've got across the line, but then season fizzles out with 2 games.
Just take the drama at the other end. That way, it's win-win almost.
Yeah. That's and it's quite nice to watch. The scores will be coming in the picture. I'm sure will change quite a bit. Even if it's not in the Championship, the Premier League race, League One on the Saturday, both the playoffs picture and the relegation zone as well, yet to be decided in League One. So it's nice to be perched in the comfort of safety and watching the supporters and players at other clubs go through the craziness.
Credit as well, speaking of supporters, another sold out away end at the Medeski for, as we've said, bit of a nothing game.
Yeah, you know what? Like we've said before on this podcast, it is, and I know supporters will say, well, you go to every game, you're at the club, and I get that. And we do get to see the away end from a fantastic vantage point of how the home supports Sea Blues fans. But I do miss waking up, going down the pub, having a sausage sandwich in the morning with the old man and my brothers, going down the game, just as a group of lads, getting behind, having a good sing, supporting the boys on an away day, whether it be a Reading. I mean, it seems to see either Bolton or Reading we finish every season.
Yeah.
And that's the one bit you do miss. And this season, I've filmed our away support countless times, just in awe of how it looks from a home perspective. Talking to someone at Rotherham, they said we've been the best support they've had at the New York Stadium for the best part of 5 years. And you go to these grounds, and I think, we've had our trouble this year with 1 or 2 incidents, but in the main, the supporters are just being absolutely phenomenal. And credit to them, because every club says they've been through the mill, they've got a great set of supporters, but genuinely, as a set of fans, I think they're the best in the division.
Well, you'll be able to hear that vocal backing at the Medeski on Sunday. Live audio commentary on Blues TV. Jonathan Bell and David Cottrell will be providing that. Live video footage as well for international subscribers.
Yeah.
Good to have Cots back in the fold.
Yeah. He did the Bristol game,
He
didn't
did, yeah.
Does it when he suits him, don't he, David Cottrell? Yeah.
Local.
Yeah, do you know what I mean? Back to Brazil. He tells us his wins are base, or puts him down for Reading. Cheers, Cots. But no, he's good. I think he went down really well at the Bristol game. I know supporters were impressed by his punditry, so offers a different angle on things. So yeah, looking forward to having him with us.
Have to get him in here at some point.
Yeah, 100%.
We'll go down to Windsor.
100%. We'll get him hopefully over the summer. There'll be 1 or 2. Hopefully we grab through the summer. Former players when all the lads disappear to, I don't know, Vegas, Dubai,
wherever they go.
Yeah,
it's all right for some.
Tanning themselves.
Well, one name who has been on the lips of supporters this season is the club's top scorer, Shay Adams. He'll definitely be taking home one award on Monday evening, that being top goal scorer for the men's side. But I think the biggest honour he's going to get all season is this. He takes on the Quickfire Questions with Dale.
The Blues Talk Podcast.
What music do you listen to before a game?
R&B, rap.
Any artists in particular?
Gunna, Lil Uzi, Young Thug. That's it.
Snapchat story or Instagram story?
Neither.
Favourite restaurant to eat?
Tattoo, new one.
Nice. What's your karaoke song or initiation song?
It was Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
Favourite movie?
Ain't got any.
No, poor from you. Which country produces the best food?
Oh, I'd say like Asia, like Thailand, that sort of way.
Nice. What's your middle name?
I've got too many.
What's your ideal holiday destination?
Ideal. America, probably.
Have you got a favourite TV series?
Oh, yeah, Game of Thrones. I just started it.
What do you order from a coffee shop, or if you go to Costa or something?
Vanilla latte.
Best goal you've seen whilst on the pitch?
Best goal.
Can't be one of yours. Just got to be like that is a goal.
Probably Keith against Brighton.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What instructions do you give to the barbers when you sit down to have your hair done?
Freshen up.
What's your favourite cheap meal?
Cheap meal? Probably like Domino's after a game.
Solid. What did you go dressed as to your last fancy dress party?
Green Lantern.
NBA, NFL, Major League Baseball, or you don't care?
Don't really care.
What are the names of your WhatsApp groups that you're part of?
This group will do. Blues, and that's really it.
Can you play a musical instrument?
No.
One person, dead or alive, you'd want to have dinner with?
Michael Jordan.
Good answer. Can you speak another language?
No.
Which Hollywood actor would you choose to play yourself in a movie?
Denzel.
I like Denzel. If the whole squad had a Royal Rumble, who would be left in at the end?
Me.
The lies. 3 words to describe your Blues roommate.
Funny, happy, and sexy.
Who's it?
Myself.
Best pair of trainers / boots you've ever owned?
Pair of trainers, probably like, I don't know, man. Probably Yeezys.
Boots?
Boots, probably the ones now, that Adidas ones with no laces.
Endorsement. Favourite pizza?
Meat Feast.
Favourite ice cream?
Oreos.
Aftershave of choice?
I forgot the name, but I wear it
Creed?
a lot. Nah, that's nice.
Black Orchid?
No. It's the next one.
David Beckham?
Marcus Cojan or something like that. Rouge, something like that.
If you could be any nationality other than English, what would it be?
American.
Have you got any tattoos?
No. No, one on my wrist.
What's it of?
Mum's signature.
What type of student were you at school?
Troublemaker.
Shock. What's the strangest thing you've eaten?
Strangest, probably like a shark or something like that.
You met that?
Yeah,
Really?
in Thailand, yeah.
What's on your bucket list or anything that you want to do?
I want to like drive around America, doing all like the tours and stuff like that.
Route 66.
Yeah, all that stuff. Just seeing the world really. I'd like to go to Brazil as well.
Are you addicted to anything?
Yeah, Fortnite,
Yeah,
gaming. Yeah.
what are you most afraid of?
I don't like snakes.
Is there a certain favourite city other than Birmingham and Leicester?
London, Manchester.
The best way to eat chicken. So how is it flavoured and what part of the chicken?
Nando's.
What part though? Breast, wing,
Thigh.
thigh.
Yeah,
Flavoured
thigh.
how?
Medium, obviously.
Your thoughts on fishing?
Boring.
Have you got any sporting memorabilia?
Yeah, I've got the stuff from Birmingham this year, like hat-trick balls, T-shirts.
You got a traded shirt? You got anyone else's shirt?
I've got some people, yeah. I've got just my mates who play for different teams.
Finally, have you ever read a book cover to cover?
No chance.
Shay Adams, thank you very much.
The Blues Talk Podcast with Dale Moon and Callum Denning.
Just to clarify, other peri-peri chicken places are available. The Bookworm,
But
Shay
Nando's
Adams.
is the best.
Apparently so.
Come on.
The best way to eat chicken, according to Shay
Not
Adams.
thigh. Thigh's a bad shout.
Listen,
It's always a breast. I'm a breast
I'm
man.
a butterfly man myself.
Are you?
Yeah.
Can you eat meat off the bone? Why
Yeah.
butterfly?
I can eat it off the bone. And I think, it's quite nice that way. But butterfly, there's
You're
something...
a lemon and herb man.
No, hot. I
Are
go
ya?
hot. Yeah.
That's surprising.
Honestly. There's something appealing about being able to just, dive in. But not necessarily at
What am I
Nando's, at
hearing?
any chicken place.
Yeah. All other chicken establishments are available,
Loads of them.
but I seem to live in Nando's. So
You got a black card? That's the
No.
dream, isn't it?
No, remember that song?
Yeah,
Example and Ed
the
Sheeran.
Nando's skank. Yeah.
Good that was.
I would quite like one.
We digress.
Anyway, serious question now, related to Quickfire Questions.
Yeah.
Shay, I presume, will be going on holiday at some point this summer.
Oh, yeah.
What book are we getting him?
I don't know. She's never read a book cover to cover.
Got to read something.
It's got I've gone through these questions actually with my family at the weekend. I think the books I've read cover to cover are mostly sporting biographies or autobiographies. Gazza's, Pirlo's.
Reliable.
So I'd imagine he'd get into them. I mean, lads just don't. The lads aren't. I mean, there's a book club. Obviously, we found out Morrow.
Yeah.
I think Morrow Juki.
Uh-huh.
The elder statesmen are clearly into their books, but among the young lads, they're just not readers. Listeners, but not readers.
Podcasts, for example.
Well, there you go. Why read
No
when
future
you
in
can
that.
listen to us?
No future in podcasts, mate. Take
No.
it from me. Anyway, something that there is a future of. Don't know where I'm going with this.
No,
It's going to
but
be an
I'm
awful
intrigued.
segue.
Go on, have a go.
I'm going to have to think of something on the fly now. I didn't prepare for this. Suppose Monday's on the Future Player Awards. Looking forward to it.
Yeah, you know what? This football club, and I'm going to blow our own trumpet, of all the ones in the region, this is the one. I mean, we put on a player awards better than any of us. If you haven't been, try and get yourselves down. Are there? I don't know if there is any availability.
Limited.
left. Okay.
Limited tickets.
Okay. I know it's quite an expense, but it's a fantastic night. Great meal, great company, couple of hosts. We announced who the hosts are.
Hayley
yet?
McQueen,
Great.
Pete Graves from Sky Sports News,
Great.
both there.
Good. Sky Sports News' very own. So they'll be hosting the night, which adds another dimension to itself. Nothing against Tom Ross, he can enjoy it on the media table, but in all seriousness, great evening. Good way to celebrate with the players. They'll have auctioned off items, raise money for both Women's Aid and Jeff Horsfield Foundation, because of course, for the first time ever, it's the Men and Women's Player Awards.
One club.
Yeah. So looking forward to that. But yeah, always a good way to finish the season. And then the players disappear for their holidays. But no, looking forward to it. Obviously, a host of awards like you say, Shay's the really one that's tied up the top goal scorer one, despite a late Michael Morrison rally.
He came close.
But I'll be intrigued to see how the supporters voting goes.
Yeah.
Because Shay's got his goals, but there is some big contributions made across the team.
Are we going to make our picks? I mean, I know you hinted at
it's
Juki
interesting.
earlier.
Yeah, you can't look. I mean, listen, Shay Adams has broke records at the club for the first time since Steve Claridge, 94-95, a player to score over 20 goals. I mean, that is a huge achievement, and quite rightly should be honoured for it. And he does the most difficult thing in the game. But if there can be any notable mentions for Lukas Jukovic, Michael Kieftenbauer, 2 centre halves, Maxime Collin, who for the last 4 or 5 weeks in particular has just been another level. Gary Gardner, Conor Mahoney in recent. You could go through the whole
Harley
side.
Dean for being a trooper.
For playing for injury. It's a difficult one. Shea has got the headlines. I understand that, but I would not be surprised if there's a sneaky shout of an award going elsewhere.
Well, I'm looking forward to finding out. Now, we are going to be there. I think it's just going to be a case now. We've said we're going to be there with the podcast.
Yeah.
Are we going to be
on the fly,
just pestering them
grab
during dinner?
We can, yeah.
Grab everyone.
Yeah,
Listen, if you're there, come and say hello. We'll be floating about, I'm sure.
You staying sober whilst we're recording?
Absolutely. Professional.
Okay.
Professional to the very end.
Making sure.
Listen, we've got an award show to run, mate. I'm
just making sure.
On the level.
Yeah.
But if anyone would like to bring us food...
You're a bit like Blues. The gaffer says you have to be at 100%. I can't carry you throughout the awards.
The team behind the team, mate.
So, make sure that you record what you need to record, and then you can have a little sherbet.
I've said, if anyone wants to bring me food, that's fair game.
After
come and
party
say hello.
at Nouveau.
Yes. Looking forward to that.
Yeah. Last year was Olivia's Townhouse. This year at Nouveau. So, for the ravers amongst you till 3-4 o'clock. Looking forward to that one. And that will be the end of the season.
It's a bit emotional. Women do still have one game away at Yeovil.
What season, by the way? Just in the preparation for the scripting of the end of season awards, just having a look at their year, to be competing with those at the top, sitting third at the minute. Though, Chelsea have a game in hand over them, I think, one place below. What a season to go through the. I know adversity is a word that's been used by Gary quite a bit, but change of manager. Mark's going to go into Orlando Pride. Marta coming in, lots of change and. Not turmoil, but you go through someone else's training methods and it's difficult to adapt, and her English is okay, but the girls have turned in 3 on the spin now at the end of the season. Hopefully they can round it off with 4 on the spin, get that 3rd place finish, because again, fantastic achievement.
We look forward to celebrating their achievements and the men's on Monday evening. Until then, I suppose that's us. We better start thinking of what we're actually going to say during the close season.
What are you doing? You know what I get quite often? What are you going to do during this summer? They think we get it off like the players
work.
Get it off. This is the engine room. We don't stop.
Hold this club together.
This is the glue that binds us all. And lots of planning to be done. Kit launches.
Looking forward to that.
Yeah, look, the fixtures. Season's fixtures.
There we go.
The fixtures will be announced in the summer. So we have that to sort. Branding for Blues TV, plans for features. It all goes off during the summer whilst everyone's off. England, of course, playing as well.
Yeah.
So
Women's World Cup. Lucy Staniforth and Ellen White.
Blues representatives at the World Cup, hopefully. So little things to keep us ticking over, but we'll definitely continue the podcast. Grab some former players as well. Are we allowed to plug other podcasts? Is that a thing?
I'll be the judge in the edit. Say what you need to, and then we'll see if it makes it.
Okay. If you're a fan of football podcasts, a big shout out to Under the Cosh, which is a podcast of John Parkin, the beast,
the big man,
scored against Blues annoyingly, great goal, chested down and volley. Is it Alan Brown who was
with an E at the end? Yeah,
I think it might be him as well. And their mate, who's this little bald man who ticks it along. He's the one who does all the research. Anyway, what I'm saying is their podcast, highly recommended. Go and watch it. They get former players on. It's not gonna go out.
This will make it. Carry on.
It's not gonna make it. But I'm just saying, if you're a fan of them, go and check them out on YouTube, because it's been helpful on my commute into work every day this week.
But obviously, this is number one priority.
Now we need to round it off as if we're not including this. So
I'm keeping it in. That's making the edit. So is that. This has been Blues Talk, warts and all, I think, this week. We look forward to the player awards. We look forward to coming back in 2 weeks' time with some semblance of a podcast. But until then, we're doing the trademark two Ronnies.
Okay, let's go.
I've been Callum Denny.
You've been Callum Denny.
He's been Dale Moon.
And I've been Dale Moon.
This has been Blues Talk.
The Blues Talk podcast with Dale Moon and Callum Denning.